Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about Unit 9, Accuracy and Measures. 9.1, Rates of Change. Let's take a look at some questions here. The distance time graph shows a hiker's journey. Calculate the hiker's average speed in miles per hour, mph, from A to B, B to C, and C to D. This is a distance time graph. So to find the speed, we're going to divide the distance over the time. So first we find the distance, and then we find the time, and then we divide the distance over the time. So let's talk about A here, from A to B. As we notice that from A to B, from here till here, the distance is what? The distance is here, which is 10 miles. And the time will be here. So distance on the vertical line and time on the horizontal line. So the time started from 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. So we have 10 miles divided by 5 hours. So 10 divided by 5. And the answer is very good, 2 miles per hour. So it's going to be 2 miles per hour, 2 mph. Focus on the steps of answering this question. So first we find the distance, and then we find the time, divide them by each other to get the speed. Second one, from B to C. So you'll notice that from B to C, that it didn't move here. It means the distance is the same from B to C. Is here. The distance is 10 miles, 10 miles. This means that the person or the hiker didn't change this distance. It means that the speed is zero. So the speed here is zero. So here we have two. Let's make it smaller. So 2 miles per hour. And then we have 0 miles per hour, which is here. 0 miles per hour, because the hiker didn't move. And the last one from C to D. So C to D, C, the distance was 10. And then going to D, distance became what? It became 17 something, 17. So 10, each one is 2.5, 12.5, 15, 17.5. So the distance is 17.5. Now let's talk about the time. Let's write the distance, 17.5. That's the distance. Now the time from C, which is 2, till D, which is 5 p.m. So how many hours? 1, 2, 3 hours. 3 hours. So this means that we're going to divide the 17.5 by 3 hours. 17.5 by 3 hours. And the answer will be, let's do the calculator. So 17.5 divide 3 will equal to 5.8. 5.8, something like that. It's going to be 5.8 miles per hour. And this is how you answer a question like this. So the idea of finding the speed, you have to find the distance and then find the time, divide the distance over the time, and it will give you the speed. Now let's move on to the next question. Question 2, write these times in hours and minutes. Write these times in hours and minutes. So let's put here, answer one of them, sorry, here. So we need them in hours and minutes. So basically this one is 2 1/4 of an hour. A quarter of an hour is what? How do you find it? You multiply it by 60. So a quarter of an hour is like this. A quarter of an hour is going to be 15 minutes. It's going to be 15 minutes. So to write it as hours and minutes, it's going to be 2 and 15 minutes. So 2 hours and 15 minutes, like this. 2 and 15 minutes. Let's make it bigger, like this. So 2 hours and 15 minutes. This one, 0.75 an hour. So basically you take 0.75 and multiply it by 60, and it's going to be 45 minutes. 45 minutes, yes, 45 minutes. So the first one is 2 hours, 15 minutes. This one is 45 minutes. Same idea here, 1.5 hours. So it's going to be 1.5 times 60. It will give you 90 minutes. So 90 minutes, when you subtract 1 hour, which is 60, this means that it will give you 1 hour and a half. So 1 hour and a half, like this. And this one, 3.2 hours. With 3 hours on the side and 0 0.2 you multiply by 60, you'll get 12 minutes. So it's going to be 3 and 12 minutes, like this. So 3 hours and 12 minutes. This one, 1 hour and a half, an hour, or 30 minutes. This one is 45 minutes. And this one is 2 hours and 15 minutes. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on. Work out the average speed for each journey. Basically, if you want to find the speed, you just divide the distance by the time. Distance by the time. So the first one here, we're going to divide. Let me take this. The first one, we're going to divide the distance, which is 200, by the time, which is 5 hours. And the answer is 40. And the unit you'll take it from the question, which is kilometer per hour. So km per 8, like this. Km per 8. Now, the second one, an athlete runs 400 meters in 64 seconds. Same idea. I'm going to divide the distance, which is 400 meters, divided by the 64 seconds. Divide 64 seconds, and the answer is 6.25, 6.25 meters per second. Meters for every second. Okay. Same idea here. 2,475 miles. 2,475 miles. I'm going to divide it by 4 hours and a half. 4 hours and a half, which is 4.5. So divided by 4.5, I will get 550. So the answer for the third one is 550. And the unit is miles per hour, or mph. mph. The last one, a swimmer completes a 50 meters length in 40 seconds. So we divide the 50, 50, divide the 40 seconds, 40 seconds. And the answer is 1.25 meters per second. And this is how you answer a question like this. So basically, we divide the distance over the time to find the speed. Now let's move on to the next question. An arrow flies 15 meters to a target at an average speed of 60 meters per second. Find the time taken for it to reach the target. So basically here they are asking about the time, asking about the time that it takes to reach the target. So first let's remove this. So we understand that the distance is 15. So distance equals 15 meters. That's the first thing we know. And the speed is 60 meters per second. So speed equals 60 meters per second. Now I want to find the time. First, we need to know the formula of the speed. Speed equals what? Or average speed equals, very good, distance over time. So distance over the time. Distance over time. This means what? This means that I'm going to use this formula, substitute the numbers that I have, and find the time. So basically, the numbers that I have the distance, which is 15, and I have the speed, which is 60. So I'm going to say 60 will equal the distance, which is 15, distance over the time, let's call it t. Now, as you can see, this formula here, we need to rearrange it to find or make t the subject. So first thing I do, I know that in each or in every fraction, I can only move the denominator to the other side. And I have to move the whole denominator, so t here, or if it has something with it, I have to move it with it too, as multiplied by the other side. So because this is divided by t, I'm going to take it by multiplying over here. So I will end up with 60t equals 15. Now, the 60 is multiplied by the t. It means I can move the 60 to the other side by dividing. So 60 will come to this side, and I will find t that way. So t will equal 15 over 60, or 15 divide 60. 15 divide 60. And then I'm going to simplify this using a calculator or simplifying method. Divide 15 is going to be 1, and divide 15 is going to be 4. So the final answer is 1 over 4. So t equals 1 over 4. And 1 over 4, 1 over 4, a quarter of an hour, a quarter of an hour, like this, or a quarter of seconds. Yeah, a quarter of seconds. So t will equal what? T will equal 0.25. And the time here is what? Yes, time is in seconds because the speed was in seconds. This means what? It means that the answer should be in seconds. So t will equal 0.25 seconds because 1 divided 4 is 0.25. So t, or the time, will equal 0.25 seconds. And this is how you answer a question like this. So we have the distance, we have the speed, we use speed equals distance over time, 60 equals 15 over t. We take this here and we take this back here. We divide them, we get 0.25. Now let's move on to the next question. Here. This one is the same idea. Find the length of time it takes him. They gave you the distance, they gave you the speed. You're gonna do the same thing to find the time, and then write it in hours as decimals or in minutes and seconds. Same steps as you did question 4, and these are the same steps that we did in question. Same idea here. So basically, they give you one of the three things, two of the three things in the formula of speed, distance, time, or speed, and they will tell you to find the others. So same idea for question 6. They gave you 200 feet per minute. This is the speed, 200 feet per minute. Take the aircraft to descend from an altitude of 18,000 to an altitude of 10 feet, 18,000 feet to an altitude of 10,000 feet. They need how long? How long means what? Means the time. So they gave you the distance, which is the difference between these, and they gave you the speed. So let's write them here, just to show you that speed equals 200 feet per minute. That's the speed. Now the distance equals what? The distance is the difference between these, which is 18,000 minus 10,000. So the distance will equal 8,000 feet. Okay, 8,000 feet. So focus on this. So we have the speed here, we have the speed, and we have the distance. Now we need to find the time because they said how long. So we use the same formula, which is speed equals distance over time. Let's use it here. So speed equals distance over time. Distance over time. Now I'm going to use this formula to answer the question and find the missing time. So I already know that the speed is 200. So I'm going to substitute the numbers. 200 will equal the distance, which is 8,000, like this, 8,000. Over the time, let's call it t. Now I'm going to rearrange the formula so the t becomes the subject. So basically, first thing I do, I'm going to move the denominator to the side by multiplying. So I end up with 200t. So 200t equals 8,000. Now, the next step, I need to make t the subject. So I'm going to take the 200 because it was multiplied. I'm going to take it by dividing. So here, t will equal 8,000. Yeah, let's put it here. 8,000 divide 200. Now, divide these, let's simplify them. Two zeros are removed with the two zeros. You can do it even with a calculator, same idea. And then 8 to divide 2. So 8 to divide 2, the t will become 40. And now I look at the question. I have the time in what? Time is in minutes. It means I put the answer of the time in minutes. And this gives me the time, which is 40 minutes. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now, question 7 and 8, they have the same ideas. You just have to understand the formula and how to use the formula of speed. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question 9 here, converting from a speed unit into another speed unit. So let's take a look. It's very important. And you need to understand how to convert between units of speed. Convert 45 kilometers per hour into meters per second. So first thing we do, we write 45 kilometers per hour. Now per hour, I'm gonna write it like this. It means 45 kilometers per 1 hour, like this. Focus on this because it's very important. So basically, I'm saying that this means 40 kilometers per 1 hour. So 30 kilometers like this per 1 hour. Now I want to convert them into what? Into meters per second. Meters per second. So first thing I do, I convert this into meters and convert this into seconds and keep them the same as a fraction like this. So as we said, the 45 kilometers, I want to convert it to meters. What do I do to it? Very good. I multiply it by 1,000 because kilometers equals 1,000 meters. So it's going to be 45,000 meters now. Yes, 45,000 meters. Now, I want to convert the hours into seconds. Focus on this. Converting the hours into seconds, first I multiply it by 60 to make it minutes, and then multiply it by 60 again, make it seconds. That's the idea of turning an hour into a second. So first I multiply by 60 to make it minutes, and then multiply it by 60 again to make it into seconds. So basically it's going to be multiplied by 3,600. So 60 times 60 is 3,600. So this one is 3,600 seconds. Focus on this. Steps are very important. So as we said, we put them as a fraction. The one will be with the hour. Turn the kilometers into meters by multiplying by 1,000. Turn the hours into seconds by multiplying by 60, and then another 60, which is 3,600. And then the final step that you have to do is do this dividing calculation and put this unit next to it. So do the dividing calculation and put the unit next to it like this, meters per second. So let's do the calculation. 4,000, 45,000, three zeros, divide 3,600. And the answer is 12.5, and the unit next to it, which is meters per second. So meters per second, like this. And this is how you answer a question like this. So focus on converting units and how to write them after you finish converting them into a fraction. Now let's move on to the next question. That's the idea of converting units. Now here I converted from a smaller unit into a bigger one. I'm sorry, a bigger small unit into a smaller one. Here it's the opposite. I'm gonna convert a smaller unit into a bigger one. Now let me do question 10 for you guys. Let me see. I think this is the last question in this lesson. So we're going to convert units from a smaller to a bigger unit. Let's see. Let's cover this. So the question says the peregrine falcon can reach speeds of up to 90 meters per second. Then, when diving, convert the speed into kilometers per hour. So the question is 90 meters per second. So per 1 second. That's how you write it, okay? So 90 meters per 1 second. I want to convert this into what? Okay, let's see. 90 meters per second. I need to convert this into kilometers per hour. So basically, I need to convert the meters, kilometers, like this, and the seconds to hours. Seconds to hours. Because I need it to be written as a kilometer per hour. So first thing I do, let's talk about the meters to kilometers. I know that to turn a kilometer to meters, I have to multiply by 1,000. But here it's the opposite. I'm going to turn the meters into kilometers. It means I have to divide by 1,000. So divide by 1,000. That's right here. Divide by 1,000. Now, this is the first step. So to turn this into kilometers, I'm going to divide by 1,000. And here, to turn seconds into hours, what do I do? Very good. First, I divide by 60 to make it minutes. And then I divide by 60 to make it an hour. So basically, I divide by 60 and divide by 60. Or divide by 3,600. Same idea. So divide by 60. I'll write it with the blue one. And then divide by 60. So I made it into minutes and then made it into hours. Or you can divide directly by 3,600. It will give you the same idea, same answer. So divide 60, divide 60. Now I'm going to do the calculations. First, I need the 90 divide 1,000. 90 divide 1,000. This will help me find the kilometers. So 90 divide 1,000 will give me 0.09 kilometers. So that's the first step, turning meters into kilometers. And then turning the second into hours. So I'm going to take the 1 divided by 60 and then divide by 60. So here, yes, I'll get a big number, which is like this. Let's write it. 0.3 zeros with 277. Looks like that the 7 is a recurring number. Yes, 7, 7. Or I can write it as a fraction, which is 1 over 3,600. Now, if I write it as decimals, I might lose some numbers. So it's better for me to write it as fractions. This one, I wrote it as a decimal because I don't have a recurring number. It's okay, I can write it as a decimal. But if I have recurring numbers, I have to write it as a fraction. So this one is going to be 1 over 3,600, like this. Now 1 over 3,600, and because I turned seconds into hours, it means this one will be in hours. So I'm gonna write it here. As I said, I write it as a fraction so I don't lose any decimals. Losing decimals will lead to changing the answers. So focus on this step because it's very important. Now, the last step that I do that takes me to the final answer, I'm gonna do this calculation. Let me put it here. I'll make space for this. Okay, I'm gonna do the first calculation, which is 0.09 divide this, and then I'm gonna write the unit next to it. So let's do the calculation first. So as a fraction, 0.09 divided by another fraction, which is 1 over 3,600. And the final answer that it gave me is 324. 324. So I'm gonna write it here. 124. And the unit is kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour, like this. So the basic idea is what? I just wrote the question, which is 90 meters per second or 1 second. And then to turn meters into kilometers, as we said, turn meters into kilometers, I divide by 1,000. Because if I want to turn a kilometer into meters, I'm going to multiply by 1,000. Here I'm turning meters into kilometers. So I'm going to divide by that by 1,000. So 90 divided 1,000 gave me 0.09. And then here to turn the second into hours, I just divide it by 60 to make it a minute, and then divide it by 60 again to make it in hours. So I got 1 over 3600 hour. Now I do the last calculation, which is this one, to find out that speed is 324, and I write the unit of that speed, which is kilometer hour. And this is how you answer a question like this. And this is the last question for this lesson. I hope you understood the idea. Now let's move on to the next lesson. Density and pressure. Density and pressure. Now in density and pressure, you need to understand some of the stuff that you took before, like the volume of triangular prism. Now to find the volume of a triangular prism, you find the area of the triangle, which is the cross section, and then multiply it by the length of the triangle prism. So find the area. The area of a triangle is half base times height. Half base times height. So this is the rule of the area of a triangle. Half times base times height. Or you write it like this, half base times height. This is the area of the triangle. And then you multiply it by the length of the prism. So basically, let's do the area of a triangle first. 0.5 times um, 0.5 times 6 base, which is 12, times height, which is 6. And the final answer will be it's going to be 36. Now you're going to take the 36 and multiply it by the length of the prism times 18. So times 18. So half base times height, and then you multiply it by the length of the prism, and this gives me 648. And because we're using centimeters here, it's going to be centimeters. And because it's a volume, it's going to be in centimeter cube. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now, let's move on to the next question. Here, we're going to talk about converting units or converting squared units. This is very important, so focus with me on that, okay? Converting squared units is very important because you need to understand all the conversion methods. First, let's cover this. I'll show you how to do one of them or two at least, so you understand the idea. We'll do A and C, okay? Because we're converting square units and cube units at the same question. So, first thing, let me show you this. We have 4 centimeters squared. We want to convert it into millimeter squared. So first, we write the 4 here. Let's make it bigger, like this. So I need to turn the 4 centimeters squared into millimeter squared. So this is a centimeter square, and I want to turn it into millimeter square. Let's put it here. Now, first we need to understand how do we turn centimeter into millimeter? How do we turn a centimeter into a millimeter? Basically, to turn a centimeter into millimeter, what do we do? To turn a centimeter into millimeter, because this one centimeter is bigger than millimeter. We know that each centimeter, let's write it here, 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. It means to turn a centimeter, which is the bigger one, to millimeter, which is the smaller one, we have to multiply. And multiplying with what? Very good. Multiply by 10. So to turn a centimeter into a millimeter, we multiply by 10. That's the first step. Now, because this one is squared, it means even this one should be squared. So basically, I take a look at the power that I have here, and I use it on the conversion number. So this one should be squared. Same idea with the cubed units. If this one is cubed, I just make this cubed and follow the same steps. So basically, we found the conversion unit or the conversion ratio. We used it, and then because this is squared, I made this squared. Now I'm going to follow the conversion method. So I'm going to take the 4, take it to this route here, multiply it by 10 squared, and it will give me the answer for this one, like this. So here, let me just move this a little bit. Yes. Oh, sorry. Let me move this a little bit so I have space. Okay, sorry. All right. So, as we said, we're going to follow the route of conversion, multiply the 4 by 10 squared, and it will give me the answer of the question. So, 10 squared is what? 10 squared is 100. When you multiply it by 4, very good, it's going to be 400. So, the final answer is 400 millimeters squared. And this is how you find a conversion rate using a squared or a cubed unit. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now, let's take a look at a cubed unit. Let's take a look at this one, for example. All of them have the same ideas. I just want to make sure that you understand squared and cubed units. Here, let's cover this. Okay. Here we have meters cubed. We want to turn them into centimeters cubed. So let's write them first. So zero point 0.3, as we said, zero point 0.3 meters cubed, or power of 3. I want to turn this into what? Very good, centimeters cubed. So let's make it like this. So I want to turn it into centimeters cubed. Like this. So first thing I need to know the conversion rate of meters to centimeters. I know that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. This is very important to understand, and you have to memorize these conversion ratios or rates. Yes. So 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Now I'm going to use this to convert meters to centimeters. Basically, meters are bigger than centimeters. It means when you convert, you have to multiply. So here you have to multiply by 100 because the difference of or the ratio between them is 100. Now here you have to multiply to turn a meter into centimeter. And because this is power of 3 or cubed, it means even the conversion ratio or the rate should be cubed. So this one should be cubed. Now I follow the steps of conversion. I'm going to take the 3 or zero point 0.3, I'm sorry, follow the steps of conversion multiplied by 100 cubed, and then it will give me the answer for the question like this. Now, let me take this. I need space for this answer. Now I do it with a calculator. Zero point 0.3 times 100 cubed. So zero point 0.3 times 100 cubed. And the answer is 300,000. So 300,000. And this is how you answer a question like this. So basically, as we said, we converted the meters cubed into centimeters cubed. First, I know that the conversion rate of meters to centimeters, every meter equals 100 centimeter. It means to convert meters into centimeters, you have to multiply by 100. And because this is cubed, it means this one should be cubed too. Now I take the zero point 0.3 multiplied by the conversion rate. It will give me the answer for the question. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on to the next question. Here we covered the conversion rate, and now we're going to talk about the density and the pressure. Now, for density and pressure, we have a formula that we use for density, for example, and pressure. Now, the formula is like this. I'm going to use it as a triangle because some people like to memorize it as a triangle. Let me cover this first. Cover this because I'm going to put it up here. So it will be like this. The triangle will help me memorize the formula. So it's like this. The triangle has three compartments, the one on top and two on the bottom or the base. Now here, M on top, and we have V and D or dV. Okay. Now this means what? It means that the density equals mass divide volume, and then mass equals density times volume, and then volume equals mass divide density. Now, this is the rule that I'm going to use. Here in this question, they told me you have four substances or metal. You have the volume and you have the mass. Find the density of each one of them or each substance. And the answer should be given in grams per centimeter cube. Now, we already have the grams and centimeter cube. This means even the units will help you solve the question because the units are showing you that we divided the gram by centimeter cube. This means we take the gram and divide it by centimeter cube. Same idea here. If I want the density, I'm going to divide the mass by the volume. So I'm going to take one of them here. So write the formula, density equals mass divide volume, mass divide volume. This is the formula that I'm using. And I took it from here, as I said. So the mass is 72 for the first one, and the volume is 16. So 72 divide 16, that's the first one, okay? I'm going to do the first one only, the others are the same. So divide 72 over 16, and the answer is 4.5. So equals 4.5, and then I write the unit, which is grams per centimeter cube. And this is how you find the density of a substance. Now, basically, you're going to use the same formula or the same triangular formula to find the density, volume, or mass. It depends on the things they give you in the question, and you can solve for the others, okay? Now, let's move on to the next question. That's the density. Now I'm going to talk about the pressure. The pressure is the same idea. I'm going to solve one of the questions only, just to show you the idea. For example, let's do 10, okay? Let's do 10. Let's cover this. So for question 10 here, the triangle that we're using has the same idea of the density one. So I'm going to put it here for the pressure. This triangle here has an upper compartment and two base compartments. So basically here we have F, which is the force, and pressure P, and the area. Because pressure is known as the force affecting the area that it's touching. So here, this means what? If I need the force, I'm going to multiply the pressure by the area. If I need the pressure, I'm going to divide force on the area. If I need the area, I'm going to divide force on the pressure. Now, let's take a look at this question. A force of 65 Newton. So F equals 65 Newton is applied to an area of 12 centimeter squared. So the area equals 12 centimeters squared. Okay. So basically, I have the force and the area. The question is calculate the pressure. Find the pressure. So to find the pressure, I'll divide the force on the area. And the answer should be given to one decimal place. So I'm going to write it like this. Pressure will equal force over area. So F over A, like this. Now I'm going to divide them. So force is what? Force is 65. So 65 divide 12, which is the area. All right. I'm going to do it with a calculator. So 65. divide 12, and the answer is 5.416. So the final answer here, I divided the force by the area, so it's 5.416. Now I need the answer to one decimal place. It means I need one decimal number in the answer. So I look at the number after, which is this one, 1. This one is smaller than 5, so it doesn't change the number before. So the final answer is 5.4. And because I'm looking for the pressure, it will divide the force over the centimeter squared. So basically, the pressure is Newton per centimeter squared. So I write it like this, Newton per centimeter squared, like this. And this is how you answer a question like this. So focus on the triangle and focus on how we use the formula to find the answer. Now let's move on to the next question. The rest of the questions, they have the same ideas. They will give you two of the things that you have in the triangle or the formula, and then they will tell you to find the other one. Same ideas with all questions. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.